Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me as always in the co-host seat are our good friends, Miss Angela Rose
Hello, everyone.
and Mr. Darren Starling.
Yellow.
Tonight, we're going to be talking quite a bit about the big news in the anime world of Sony looking to acquire Kadokawa and how we feel. This is going to be a lot of opinion-based stuff of how we feel this is going to affect the anime industry, either good, bad, indifferent. It seems like Sony is trying to monopolize a lot of the entertainment industry, whether it be video games, entertainment stuff from TV shows to anime to electronics. It seems like they want to get their hands into everything. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we think this is going to do for the anime industry, not just in the US, but as a whole. And where do we think that things are going to go from here?
That is a darn good question. If this buyout actually happens, that, in my opinion, is going to not actually be a good thing long term. Long term, it's basically going to give Sony a monopoly. That said, there's a very real possibility that if someone figures that out before the deal is signed, then it'll just get rejected and not go through.
And
because we've been seeing that in the news lately, things of that nature.
I'm going to share. This is. Oh, go ahead, Darren.
I was going to say, speaking of monopoly, DirecTV failed to acquire Dish Network just recently.
Yep, I did see that, and then there's also the
subject of monopolies.
There was also the Spirit Air. They failed to allow the Spirit and I forget which other budget airline they were trying to merge with, but that got canned.
On air? I don't remember.
But you know what I'm talking about, kind of.
Yep.
So we'll see. I mean, or it'll go through, and then we'll end up seeing nonsense and lawsuits like with what's going on with Chrome, or like some of the stuff with like Epic suing Apple and
so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Many times when corporations buy out other corporations, it is not a good thing.
Good evening, Ross. Great to see you in the chat. Hello to everybody who's tuning in. As I mentioned earlier, tonight's topic that we're going to focus on quite a bit is about the Sony trying to monopolize the anime industry.
And Ross says if they monopolize, then they will go out of business. As I learned from my parents, monopoly is illegal.
Illegal? No. Unethical? Yes. Because, remember, there were several monopolies in the United States way back when. And many of them have reformed to an extent.
And that led to a lot of antitrust laws and to basically prevent this from happening, but it still does.
Yep, exactly.
So right now it's I think a whole lot of wait and see. But after looking it up and kind of trying to figure out, heads are trying to figure out what was what. If it does happen, it's not going to be a good thing in the long run.
My whole thing is Sony owns the English side of a lot of things. I mean, yes, Sony is that has Japanese roots too, but lately they've been trying to buy up like the American anime market. They own Aniplex, they own Funimation, they own Crunchyroll, that kind of nature. And Sentai Filmworks is the only American studio I feel that has not come under their umbrella just yet. Um, and that's a good thing, and I hope it stays that way. But now that they've got the distribution channels monopolized here in the US, it seems like now they're kind of going after where the source of a lot of this stuff comes from. Because Katakawa isn't just, they don't just produce anime, they produce the light novels, the manga, and stuff that get adapted.
And
They have,
I do have an article that I had pulled up that I'll read in just a moment here. I didn't mean to cut you off, Darren.
that's okay. But like for example, um, one of the top people um, for for High School DxD, for instance, when they did season 3, they ran the story for season 3 the way they wanted to, and that did not sit well with the author. And in order to get season 4 accomplished, he had to get Katakawa, the publishing company, involved in order to get back to the roots of the light novel story. Because the only one at the time that was more powerful than the guy that was working on it was literally Katakawa.
And Nanya Business in the chat says, "Well, is a monopoly illegal here, or Japan is what I wonder, because here, yes, but Japan, he doesn't know."
And I'm not actually sure about the laws in Japan when it pertains to that. I didn't even start that deep dive.
But the news article that I found that I was reading earlier comes from comicbook.com, and the article is titled "Sony acquiring Katakawa could lead to a troubling anime monopoly." And the story reads, "A new report has indicated that Sony is currently in talks to acquire Katakawa, and if it goes through, it could lead to a troubling monopoly in the anime industry, as Sony would then have a much greater stake in production and distribution, down to even what could potentially be adapted or animated in the future." According to a new report from Reuters, Sony is currently in talks to acquire Katakawa, as Sony is looking to add to their overall entertainment portfolio. As they state, talks between the two sides are ongoing, and if successful, a deal could be signed in the coming weeks. While the report primarily focuses on the fact that Katakawa is currently owner of the popular video game developer From Software, the studio behind mega hits like Elden Ring. But Katakawa operates in much bigger pools than just video games, and if Sony acquires the entire umbrella, then it's going to have an unprecedented stake in the anime industry, with multiple studios, distribution networks, licensors, and more under their belt that are currently within Katakawa. What does this mean for the anime industry? Katakawa has already gotten a lot of attention from anime fans in the last few years, following their announced effort to produce at least 40 new anime titles a year back in 2021. This has resulted in more franchises that have been successful for sure, with the recent anime hits such as Delicious in Dungeon, ReZero starting Life in Another World, The Rising of Shield Hero, and more. The production giant has also recently acquired notable studios like Daga Kobo, which had gotten attention in the last couple of years with Oshinoko and Alia Sometimes Her Feelings in Russian. But that's just what makes it to the screen. The company reaches out far beyond that. It's not just game developing studios like From Software or Spike Chunsoft. Katakawa also has ownership of light novel, manga, and magazine publishers such as ASCII MediaWorks, the Love Life franchise, Enterbrain, Ranking of Kings, and even bookstores like Bookwalker that helps overseas fans import each of these respective light novels that have yet to make it outside of Japan. As for English language publishing, Katakawa also has significant stakes in distributors like J Novel Club and Yen Press. Katakawa has a pipeline that gets their most popular works to screen, and Sony would have a controlling stake in all of this as well. Sony, for their part, already has this in turn with Aniplex that has overseen the releases of massive franchises like Demon Slayer, Sword Art Online, and other releases from Aniplex's production studios such as A1 Pictures and Cloverworks. Sony themselves has also revealed their plans to nurture new talent within the industry with their Anime Academy, hiring individuals for studios such as A1 Pictures and Cloverworks to foster these talents for anime on a global scale. There's also Sony's stake in Crunchyroll, one of the major streaming platforms for anime. After fully acquiring Funimation with the merger completely taking effect earlier this spring, Crunchyroll is now the exclusive home to many titles fans can't get elsewhere. While this has changed slightly with some of the more blockbuster franchises being shared around, like Dragon Ball Daima and Dan to Dan this fall, for example, it's still home. It's still a home to majority of new anime releases each new seasonal wave. If Sony indeed acquires Katakawa, then it's going to have a controlling stake in pretty much every aspect of the anime production pipeline, from light novel titles that get published to the ones that get adapted, to finally the franchises that get released worldwide. This could result in a more unified global release for major series, which in turn could be good for anime fans, but at the same time, it also means another major publication with its own voice and franchises would fold under Sony. And that's the end of the article. So that could be good or really bad for the anime industry.
Like, anytime another company acquires another one, they're attempting to streamline what they have. But the problem is when the control is handed over, and there becomes less competition, and there becomes less voices heard as to what should get produced. That's the problem.
I mean, if you take it at surface level, playing devil's advocate a little bit, at surface level, it appears like it's going to be a good thing, like everything's going to be streamlined, and here in America, we're just going to see more content. That being said, look beneath the surface, and yes, it's going to be a train wreck.
And I have
because what we're going to see is some higher up at Sony literally calling all the shots without letting anybody else have any input.
and also
never
there's
ends
going to be
well.
and then there's going to be less of competitive pricing, because if Sony has, most of the distribution rights for anime, then they can charge whatever they want to. So our price is going to skyrocket.
Like they already have.
Bingo. I mean, we saw that when the Funimation merger finished. Didn't Crunchyroll's prices immediately go up?
They did, and it could happen again. And I mean, we could be seeing a repeat of a lot of people ditching the streaming sites and going back to get pirating anime that they want to see.
Yep, because ultimately, regardless of how you look at it, the bottom line is this: piracy is exposure, and that is what is needed to keep series in production. Because once the series has been made known, it will encourage people to either A, legally stream the stuff, not so much as it used to be, or B, they will purchase the merchandise for that series and follow it and demand more content from that series, which would further generate revenue to the people that created it or hold the licenses to it, anyone that works on the series. So basically, playing devil's advocate here, piracy creates exposure and also inadvertently creates demand, which is needed to keep companies going.
I mean, there's positives and negatives to all aspects of this situation. Obviously, Sony being a big name, almost everybody has heard of Sony.
Uh, and Ross in here with an opinion about Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll store is getting bad as well. They for a while have not been able to restock some items or not able to acquire license for that item anymore. Some are now on back order, and it's a train wreck. I don't doubt that for a second. And I feel like that's a thing that's going to get worse before it gets better.
I will say one thing. I did make a purchase recently off of the Crunchyroll website. It was the only place I could find volume 1 of the free run manga.
Yeah.
After hitting up many, many different Barnes and Nobles and attending, I think, about 3 different anime conventions, larger anime conventions, where I could not find volume 1. I had volumes 2 and 3 of free run. I did end up buying it off of Crunchyroll because it was the only place I found that had it.
I'm surprised you didn't try Amazon.
I looked at Amazon, but the prices were just as comparable to Funimation, and the shipping was about the same, or to Crunchyroll.
And ultimately,
and a couple of the ones that I saw from Amazon were like used copies.
And I'm sure you'd rather, as much as it hurts, put your money toward the publishers or licensors than Amazon.
I would, yeah, that's another reason I did go through Crunchyroll, is because I know it does help the industry.
I'm not even arguing that. I merely, did you also look at like bookstore websites?
I only looked at Barnes and Noble website, and like I said, I think I went to about
because sometimes
5 or
they'll
6
have it on
Barnes
their
and Noble.
Barnes and Noble specifically. Sometimes they'll have stuff on their website that is not necessarily available in your local store.
Well, every time I talked to them, they said that like it was back ordered and they had no idea when the next shipment, if it was going to come out, was going to be for back to then, because free run's manga has been going for a while, so a lot of the higher volumes are out, so which makes it tough to find, the earlier volumes.
Mm-hmm. And yes, Ross, we miss them, but we also miss Right Stuff Anime, who later became the Crunchyroll store. Because let's be honest, Right Stuff had some of the best customer service in the anime industry. Period. End of story.
I never actually
the best deals.
bought anything from them.
Really, they had Christmas. They had those insane Christmas sales every year where I spent way too much money. Because remember, I would get like 10 to 20 Blu-rays for right around 150, $200.
I did that from Sentai Filmworks, not through Right Stuff.
Isn't that
Sentai Filmworks had some good deals too?
Isn't this when you got the where you got the Food Wars thing from?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I got 1 or 2 of them. I think I got the 3rd season one at a convention.
I just remember you bought like you had like the limited edition collectible Food Wars set.
Yep, that came with more than just the episodes. It came with other trinkets as well, including the apron worn by our favorite nudist cook.
Which thankfully Darren did not attempt to recreate that while I was down there.
Oh, that would have been fun, though.
Coming from a female perspective, maybe.
We could put him up against Jason Moulton. Who wore it better? Wait, what?
Oh my god.
Speaking of that, Darren, I know that you were kind of dozing in and out towards the end of the show last week, but there's a chance that we might be looking at going to South Carolina Horror Con next year, in September. Is that if we're able to go down there? Jason said that he would happily give us a table for AZR. Is that something you'd be interested in going to and accompanying us with?
So long as I got advance notice of the day, then yes, because I can tell my boss that I'm gone. Bye. See ya. And September's late enough in the season, it shouldn't be too much of a scheduling issue.
And I did have fun going to the horror convention a few weeks ago. So, I think it would be fun going down there. Plus, getting to hang out with Jason and his wife, and they're awesome people. I know not everybody thinks that, but they were good people. Always treated us really well. So,
Yeah.
but Ross in the chat says, "I'm serious when I say this, but I'm lightly joking as well. If Sony acquires Katakawa, it's going to make them look like Germany in the 1940s. Also, Right Stuff was cheaper on their sales."
Yes, they like I said, they really were because they would go upwards of 90% off on some stuff. It was especially a good time to collect hentai.
Which we know you have such a huge collection of.
Actually, I don't own one volume of that at all. I don't own a single hentai. Everything I own is anime. Fun fact.
Closest thing to hentai he has is DxD.
No, Seiken no Quasar.
I was gonna say Darren's probably got an ecchi that's pretty close.
Yeah, Seiken no Quasar or Quasar. Even though it's one I haven't seen, the guy literally gets his powers from sucking tits.
Sounds like the hidden dungeon only I can enter. He gets stronger by being perverted.
That's also so I can't play H. Lazara gathers power off of his perverseness. And then Issei is the same way too, but I'm talking about when it comes to stuff being shown on screen, Quasar is like was like the redo of healer slash interspecies reviewers of the earlier days of Ecchi.
And I still haven't seen that.
Any of them?
Any. I was specifically referencing interspecies reviewers.
Well, I got into a conversation with someone about that the other day. And she was like, "What is it?" And she's like, "Oh, oh, oh." I'm like, "Yeah."
At some point, I do want to get the DVD.
See, I know.
It's what Media Blasters owns it.
I don't remember anymore because it did go Right Stuff, but
All
Yeah.
I know is it is not on any of the streaming platforms.
As it shouldn't be, theoretically.
I still laugh that Funimation dubbed like 1 or 2 episodes and then immediately dropped at episode 3. To which Darren did find a pirate site that did have episode 1 English dubbed, which we watched while I was down there. And I'm like, oh, I know that voice, and I think I know that one.
And
Because of course you did that.
we tried. Oh, and my bad. It's Critical Mass Video.
But getting back on topic about Sony with trying to acquire Katakawa, it kind of worries me that Sony is trying to like get into all of this stuff. I feel like if Sony makes this acquisition, we're gonna see them focus on the highly popular series, and a lot of the really good lesser known series, we're going to start seeing less and less of that because there's not going to be as many studios out there to acquire these works, because Sony's just going to have their nose in everything. And even though a series might be really good, it only has a niche audience, and Sony's going to be like, well, that's not worth us to produce or promote any farther than it already has. And a lot of other companies, I don't know if they're going to have the strength to oppose Sony.
Well,
So,
I mean,
I say you talk about Sentai Filmworks, and I've talked to anime fans who have no idea who Sentai Filmworks is or High Dive, because everything is Crunchyroll.
I'm not surprised about Sentai Filmworks, because I'll be the first to admit I'd never heard of that until I started on the show. High Dive, given their advertising, and the fact that they have in the past sponsored anime conventions, I am surprised.
Did you know about Viz Media?
Yes.
Okay. And you know about Crunchyroll, you know about Funimation, you know about Aniplex, right?
By name only. I mean, I've seen, going back to the days of borrowing friends' VHS and DVDs, the logos that would come up at the very beginning. Aniplex was one of them.
That's why
Viz
we're
Media was
surprised.
one of them.
And I'm going to call you out a little bit here, because when Darren first posted about this story in the group chat, you asked who is Katakawa. You
Yeah.
see them on a lot of animes, even back in the day. Katakawa is at the start of a lot of anime.
And that's not what I remembered.
Yep, because and a lot of us had the inkling to skip to the first scenes and not go through the credits. Because remember, Funimation used to go, "You should be watching," and then it would be like Katakawa or Kyoto Animation had a little thing.
That was
Before they
Katakawa's
started.
logo for a lot of stuff.
I mean, there was
Yep.
also a period where I didn't watch. There was also a good probably 7 or 8 years where I didn't watch any anime whatsoever.
Okay.
So I'm literally so when I finally got back into anime after a hiatus, it was basically a lot of catching up, and then, oh, you never saw this, we're watching this. And hi John, good to
Hello.
see you in the chat.
Yeah,
And he
hello,
said,
John.
and his relevant comment here, I'm glad I'm buying anime Blu-rays to support the anime industry.
So, John, tell us your thoughts on Sony acquiring or potentially acquiring Katakawa.
And Ross, in regards to the comment about Sentai Filmworks, says, Sentai Filmworks gave us a show with the perverted girl who is the main lead of the series, Momokuri.
I'd have to look that one up.
Sentai Filmworks also gave us Gushing Over Magical Girls.
Yeah, which somehow got a season 2.
And 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, which I'm behind on because I need to update. I got a new debit card recently, and I have to slowly update that on everything I wish to continue paying for.
I need to watch that. because I am still incredibly far behind. I was distracted this week by Yu-Gi-Oh clips and ended up rewatching the whole Waking the Dragons arc and the 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 final arc, Dawn of the Duel. Thank you.
And on that note, I am completely caught up on anime. Ross, I even caught up on 365 Days to the Wedding. So, wondering what your thoughts are on that one now.
I need to catch up on that one.
Nope. I binged a bunch, and then episode 8 must have dropped while I was binging, so I actually got all the way through 8.
And I am behind on 2 shows from the what I'm watching on Crunchyroll.
Granted, I'm only watching 5 shows, but
And like I said, I'm watching at the moment.
1, 2, 3.
Currently caught up to like 4, I think. I was about to watch You Are Miss Servant, which has been absolutely adorable. 8th episode, but didn't get to it.
I'm currently watching 7 shows that are in the Crunchyroll docket, plus the one that was on High Dive, and I'm behind on High Dive, and I'm behind on Reincarnated Aristocrat that dropped earlier today, and I'm behind on Healer Who Was Banished.
So you watched the 8th episode of You Are Miss Servant?
I did. I watched that yesterday while I was in the hotel.
Okay. And do you still stand behind the comment that you prefer Yuki over Yor?
Yes. I like Yuki's character better than I like Yor's character.
From the
But
chat.
Also, sorry.
Oh, nope. Go on. Finish this.
I was gonna say, I also you agree that you like Yuki's outfits more than yours.
I mean, Yuki's outfits are interesting, for sure. And the fact that she has little to no shame is kind of comical.
Well, she was raised in an assassin world, so
yeah.
She
And in
doesn't
the
know
most recent episode, you kind of got a glimpse of her past via dreams she was having. Which helped to lead to where she became who she is as of the show. Which almost makes you feel bad for her and like really want to root for her to have a happy ending. So I'm kind of pulling for Yuki a bit more in this show and kind of have more of an interest in Yuki as a character than I do in Spy Family, because you don't really know much of Yor's backstory. Why did she become an assassin? You find out why Yuki became an assassin, how she was forced into it.
I would argue you find out why Yor became an assassin. To basically raise her brother properly.
True. It's been a while since like the early arc, so I forget that a bit.
It was 100% she had to do something because she had to basically raise her younger brother.
Which is true.
She could have chose a lot of different things, whereas Yuki was forced to be an assassin at a young age. Like starting at age 7, she was forced to be an assassin. She was solely trained to do that.
I have not seen this show. I don't know. I'm just merely pointing out that your comparison to your Spy Family.
I think Yor's background was a brief peek into it, a brief explanation, while Yuki's was a deep dive, is what he's saying.
Oh, I will agree that it wasn't necessarily a deep dive, but we did get something.
The basics.
skipping back to the chat, John Knight, to answer our question, says he didn't expect Sony to be with Katakawa. And I'm going to agree with Ross's commentary about 365 days to the wedding, because poor Ganda. That was a little bit of a heart-wrenching bit. But this is turning into a well done anime that actually deep dives into the entire cast, not just the main two.
Nice spoiler, Ross.
Ross, I will kind of disagree.
It's the rifts that a lot of times draw them closer together. I haven't even seen the series, but judging based off of that comment,
Yeah. It made me think of like the controversy with My Dress Up Darling when Marin and the main male character had like a huge argument, and the internet was like, "Oh, they're not going to get together," and da 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 da. And then as the series continued, things got more serious.
mm-hmm.
I think it's, well, speculating a little bit. I disagree with Ross's comment, and okay, that is accurate. But no, it's basically playing into a lot of stereotype tropes, and also playing into the fact that they're both very introverted people. But it's cute and it's well done.
Bouncing back to You Are Miss Servant, I still think that you would enjoy it, Angela.
I agree. I think she would, especially with our teacher doing what she did.
I mean, from what I'm seeing, and from what I've tried to understand, the kind of storylines and stuff that you enjoy. So I'm not looking at this as, oh, it's a show I think is great, you need to watch. I'm thinking, okay, is this a show story-wise that Angela could get into and enjoy? And I honestly think you would enjoy it, knowing you like Spy Family, knowing some of the other types of shows that you like. It does have a deep dive. There is a little. It does feel like there is a romance element starting to develop in there, but it's also, you're seeing the character development of somebody who is a trained assassin trying to turn into
A normal individual.
a normal person. She wants to know what being a normal girl is like. She's still basically high school age.
But she has the mentality of what, an elementary, middle schooler in terms of how the real world works.
We will see. Not promising anything.
And I went into it not thinking I would like the show, and I've really enjoyed it.
I will say, I wasn't at the beginning of the season. I was not 100% sold on Hero That Was Banished.
Yeah.
That one actually grew on me. And watch episode 8 is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm one episode
even
behind.
Though, to be fair, episode 7 kind of gave away episode 8 in some aspects.
Yes and no. Episode 8 had one big reveal that I would argue no one would see coming.
Okay. The first part, yes. The very latter part, like the last few minutes of it, episode 7 ruined that, if that's what you're talking about.
I'm talking about one specific character's history.
Yes, that yes.
That reveal was
shocking.
something.
Oh yeah, no, I did not see that one coming. But
that's all I was referring to with watch episode 8 was that. Some of the other stuff, the interplay between some of the characters Oh yeah, absolutely. It's.
Let me.
But I will admit the show has grown a lot on me, and I'm actually wondering how that one's gonna wrap up.
Well, I just like the fact that the guild is not putting up with and parties that are scumbags, basically, which is something you don't really see much in other
Mhm.
shows.
Agreed.
I will probably watch that after we're off the air
But
tonight.
but I can't say anything. Fairy Tale, how many guilds did they destroy, Doug?
Too many.
I don't know. I dropped it 100 something episodes in and kind of
Yeah,
forgot about a lot of what happened in the series because it just felt like it was like the same scenarios on a loop.
to an extent, yes. But I was just trying to say, how many guilds did they destroy? A bunch,
Yeah,
because they were destructive by nature.
and we're just a part of the Angela Guild.
So she's the guild master, and we're the adventurers.
Wait, when did that happen? When did I become the guild master?
Well, you play D&D, so technically you would qualify as the DM and
DM or
theoretically.
Guild Master.
So, and we, being the non D&D players, can never say we have. So therefore,
All right, by that argument, sure, but okay.
That's exactly where my logic was too. So Darren caught right on.
Um,
I mean, I've sat in on some D&D sessions, but I ain't been able to stay for the whole session because I have work to do.
nope. Tomorrow night I will be up way too late because I will be playing D&D on a live stream.
The same Monday night group that you were with before.
Yep,
Is that the continuing campaign or a new one?
it is the same campaign. It still hasn't ended. It's just had a couple of lengthy hiatuses due to all the things.
Due to life, the universe, and everything else.
Yep.
Which I know back in the day I used to tune in from time to time while delivering pizza because I would be out that late and
I remember. But
one of the shows that I have been keeping up with, since we're talking about what we've been watching, and has been actually pretty good. Tying the knot with an Amagi sister. That one has continued to be interesting and has kept my attention.
That one is something I need to catch up on.
um from the chat, Ross says, Doug, remind me, was it the Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza?
I don't know what that means.
Nor do I.
Wait, the what?
But I think he wrote in Krusty Krab pizza. I wonder if he meant Krusty Krab pizza.
About to say, I remember a scene. I never watched SpongeBob like at all, but
Same.
I've seen scenes where the oh wait, Krusty Krab has pizza and they're gonna deliver, and SpongeBob singing something ridiculous while he's delivering the pizza with Squidward.
He did mean Krusty. Ross, news for you. An episode 13 dropped for My Happy Marriage, effectively an OVA, which was a nice little continuation from where season 1 ended. I don't know if you watched it, but it was actually really nice.
I miss animes having like OVA episodes. Like it just doesn't seem to happen like it used to.
Well, this is late. Oh, you watched it the day it dropped.
Of course. Ross
Of
is
course.
on this stuff. I mean,
Fair, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it.
yeah, if you didn't say something about it and Ross hadn't seen it, he'd be mad at you. He would come in and yell at you like he yells at me at times.
Or he'd say something ridiculous.
Oh, he's going to do that anyway. It's
Yeah.
Ross.
I know. I'm surprised. I'm surprised we haven't gotten too off the wall yet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well, probably because we're just bricks in the wall.
I am curious. Goodbye Dragon Life is a show Ross has talked a lot about when it first came out, and he talked so much about it that I decided to start watching it. And I'm curious as to how he feels the show has been going thus far. I've been enjoying it. I do agree that the Lamia, again, I do agree the Lamia in this show is cute. And I like her better than some of the other more well-known Lamias in the anime world. I still hold by that I like the white-haired girl. I think her character might be one of the better characters in the show. And I'm curious as to how the story is going to continue from where it's at.
Oh, what? Sorry.
Was that a show that you started too, Darren? Did you watch Goodbye Dragon Life, or
No, that wasn't one I had an interest in at all.
it's actually been really good. I think you would like that one. And it's definitely had some interesting characters who have come in, and it's it seems like anime has in the last few years seemed to bring in like demon female characters that are adorable. You saw it with Frieren, you saw it with a few other shows.
Demon Slayer.
Goodbye Dragon Life has a flower-based demon in it who is a cute character as well. She's a terror, but she's cute. So, that's going to appeal to a wide audience, I believe, as well. And Ross says that, guys, I only work 4 hours, 5 days a week from morning to afternoon. Of course I'm going to get them done. So, of course, he's going to be seeing everything. That's how he's able to come in here with such knowledge. And we really appreciate the fact that, between John Knight and Ross Luck, we get so much information of what's going on in the anime world.
Indeed, we do.
Now, of course, we love everybody who comes in and chats. If you're listening to us via the podcast platform, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us and enjoying our contact.
And if there's a show you think we should be watching, by all means, comment and tell us.
Funimation, you should be watching.
Yep.
Because sometimes we just miss stuff.
And sometimes we go back and watch shows that we forgot about or try to prepare for future seasons coming out. Or in a case like me, I just get bored and while stuck in a hotel, and I'll go back and rewatch a show for no reason.
Yep. Or
Ross,
you'll meet someone new and offer to introduce them to a series and end up watching it over again, which happened to me the other night.
Ross says, Goodbye Dragon Life has a really good theme song. The coziness atmosphere from Dolan and Celia is really precious. I love the fact that he keeps himself calm and level to take on challenges and help.
Which is, hitting the nail on the head on all aspects there. Dolan for who he is, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who has yet to start this and wants to start it. Dolan has a big secret that in the world that he is in, nobody really knows his true nature yet, as far as the episodes have gone. One of the demons that he is currently fighting has kind of figured out who he may be, but hasn't fully confirmed it as of the most recent episode that I watched. But it's kind of neat to see how this is playing out, and you see like a cute little romance thing that is starting between Dolan and Celia. But you can also see that some of the other female characters have taken an interest into Dolan as well. But I kind of feel if any relationships were to really fully develop into something serious, I feel it'd be Dolan and Celia. That's just based off of what I've witnessed in the anime thus far.
And John says he recently ordered Dimension with anime Blu-ray, and it will arrive tomorrow.
Sweet. And John, we know that you love your anime Blu-rays, and I know that's a big help to the anime industry. And Ross says this is as regards to Goodbye Dragon Life. He says this is the reason why I also wanted you to watch the series, Doug, because of reincarnation trash. Yes, I'm isekai trash.
We know.
I'm proud of it. Granted, I don't just watch isekais. I do watch a lot of other stuff. I've been trying to watch less and less isekais because, as everybody says, a lot of it's just carbon copy stuff. But there are still shows that come up where it's like, this actually sounds good. And sometimes they are, and sometimes I'll sit down and watch a show expecting it to be absolute garbage, and it turns out to be better than it should be, like in the case of Vending Machine. And then there are shows where it's like, oh, this could be really good, and it turns out to be absolute dumpster fire. Why did I watch this? But I think you find that in like all genres of anime.
And not just anime, media in general.
I will agree. It's media in general.
To be fair, I had one of my employees who's a fan. I told him the name of a manga I rediscovered the other day. That's only like 9 chapters. There ain't much to it. And he's like, I feel like I've read this before. I don't remember. But when I showed it to him, he didn't remember it. But then once he got to reading it, he's like, oh, I remember this. And he was mad at me because he said, you said it was wholesome. That was anything but wholesome. I'm like, it was wholesome to me.
See, I'm actually, to address John's comment, because he's not entirely wrong, I too am trying to watch more than just the shonen. I'm actually watching more other stuff as well.
I think we've all kind of expanded on our anime watch list, where for a while Angela was okay. I like my mecha, shonen, and some psychological thriller. She's opened up to more romance, more a slice of life, and an occasional isekai if it really grabs her attention.
There's been 2 ever, but I'll give you that.
Well, that's why I said if it grabs your attention. You don't like just watch a show because, oh, it's an isekai. You're like, well, that actually sounds good. Or like in the case of Banished from the Heroes Party, I was like, oh, check this out. I think you'll like it. And you're like, this actually is good.
Yeah.
Would you say, since you've known me, have my tastes really changed much?
A little bit.
Changed, not so much. I would argue expanded as opposed to changed.
Expanded. Basically, as long as it's not a shonen, I will watch it. Period. And I think I've had to explain this before, but you know what Shonen Ai is, right?
No.
I think so, but for our newer listeners, refresh people's memory.
Shonen Ai, boys love. Shoujo Ai, girls love. So yaoi, yuri.
Okay.
If it's got
Okay.
yaoi aspects, I'm out.
That is not unreasonable.
I would say the only yaoi I have ever watched, and I know a lot of people consider it yaoi, even though I don't know if it actually has that tag, was Yuri on Ice.
It
I'm
definitely
not giving the name.
Yuri on Ice was definitely boys love.
But it was a really good anime. The art was good, the story was good.
The music.
I could look past the BL side of things because it wasn't overly obnoxious. Where some shows are just, this is you can just tell it's just overly obnoxious. And not just for BL, but GL as well.
I think we're getting more Yuri anime here soon. There was a few that came out within the let's see, Sakura Trick was an old one. You had Yuri, which is an old one. You had Citrus. That was a fairly newer one. What was the one I started watching and quit? I forget. And then I think you got another one coming out either this coming season or the following season.
So many of the shows I've watched, their next seasons are coming in April. On the one hand, I'm looking forward to it. Yay, the stuff I like is getting season 2s, but gosh darn it, everything coming out at once. What in the heck?
By the way, Doug, I keep mentioning this, but I'll mention it again. You know that DXD is coming back, right?
Yeah.
Just not the main, just not the main story.
Okay. All right.
Hey, John Knight put it out there. I had to just have some fun
I
with
see
it.
that.
Yes,
Darren.
look, I like shoujo and seinen themes. I really do.
Darren, 100 Girlfriend season 2 coming in January. Ross and John are both excited for this.
I'm gonna watch it. I enjoyed season 1.
I did too.
Not my jam. You all have fun with that. And I mean that, and I do mean that seriously.
And you'll just sit back and laugh as we continue to argue over who best girl is, and as we like to do.
Exactly.
But he pulled a MILF in season 1, literally.
They did. And I'm surprised Sea Dog wasn't all over that. And Angela knows what I'm talking about with Sea Dog and MILF.
I do. And I'm just, I think what was even funnier was the trivia. Did you see the Joey's video on Joey's channel where he did the Man versus Weeb?
I have not.
Go look those up because one of Connor's questions, because of course Connor was one of them.
Oh wait, was that the game show that he was doing for a short time?
Yes.
I think I saw quite a few of those, so I might have seen it.
So you saw Connor almost forget where the origin of MILF.
Yes. Okay, I know where you're going. Okay, yeah, I do remember that. And that was hysterical. He got mad at himself.
Because that was, yep. That's all I'm gonna say.
And for Darren, because he enjoyed Nokotan, he's got DILF. Here
Oh,
he'd like to.
From the chat, Darren,
no,
what do you,
no, Doug. I'm gonna stop you there.
changing the subject. Darren, what do you
This
mean
is not
DXD is coming back?
This is not interspecies reviewers.
But you're gonna have to explain to Ross what you mean. DXD coming back.
Oh, Ross, you didn't know? Junior DXD. So basically, we're going to be having a story taking place at Kuo Academy down the line, with none of the main characters being main characters in this series. It is going to be a girl main character this time. Let me see if I can find the synopsis. Give me 2 seconds.
Is it going to be just as fan servicey as DXD,
Yep,
or
potentially, because this time it looks like we're having an all-female cast, or mostly female cast, with our main characters from the main series making like side character appearances.
Like cameos, if you will.
And cameo, not necessarily cameo. I think they're gonna have a direct impact on the story, just not as the main characters.
All right.
And I'm hoping that at the end of this series, there will be an announcement about a 5th season of DxD, because DxD is bound to continue.
And Ross says, I knew there was an announcement a couple of weeks ago, but never saw it on Twitter. So junior high is getting adaptation ?
Yes, junior high is getting an adaptation.
I didn't even know there was a junior high because I've been out of the DXD loop for a long time. So,
to put it simply, ever since Studio T&K did what they did with DxD, in order to compensate for the changes that were made, the author not only had to continue writing the main story, he had to write side stories, spin-off novels, in order to make the anime events from season 3 play into the novels. So he exclusively wrote novels to accommodate the storyline that was thrown out in season 3 of the anime.
kudos to him for doing that. Some people would have been like, "Nope, I'm done."
Nope, he was very involved with his fan base. He knew exactly how to do stuff in order to keep us entertained and
And
have stuff make sense.
and hopefully stuff like that will continue in the anime industry of regardless of what happens with the Sony Katakawa. That's, I think, of the fear of a lot of anime fans is, are we going to see some of that individuality get taken away by the iron grasp of Sony controlling everything?
I mean, even before that, I mean, Sony notwithstanding, I think we're already at a point where a lot of what we're seeing is cookie cutter and everything is similar to something else that either A is already out, or B, two shows that are very, very similar out at the same time. And I think if that deal actually goes through, that's just going to get worse, and we're going to see a lot less new and creative and innovative content. And it's just going to be more of the same. More mediocre isekai, more mediocre shonen.
More shows or spin-offs of things like Attack on Titan or Love Live
and reboots that we don't need of things that were out 20, 30 years ago.
Like I know they had the reboot of Trigun, but are we going to see a reboot of like Cowboy Bebop? Are we going to see a reboot of it? We had somewhat of a continuation of Inuyasha with Yashahime. Ranma
Fruits
half.
Basket, Ranma half,
Um,
any and every Sailor Moon variant under the sun.
that other old one where the I forget the name of it, but it's the girl who wears like the leopard bikini, like the leopard colored bikini. I think you know what I'm talking about. Urasure or something like that.
I have no idea, but no, and we're seeing a lot of this in not just anime, but media across the board. We're seeing a lot of just not as much new and different. Everything is sequels and cop and inspired by and
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I think we've gone over this multiple times. That's media as a whole because you can only do so much.
I feel like if Sony obtains Karakawa, that's just gonna get worse in anime.
Agreed.
And Ross has a question for us. What
No, I'm not answering that one because I already know the answer.
what was the weirdest or what in the heck did I just watch anime you've seen that makes you not want to go back and watch ever you want to forget?
Doug and I already know the answer to this question.
I feel like all three of us have the same answer.
Aiken.
for Darren, it was Aiken.
No,
Okay.
it was. I would actually go back and read Aiken or watch Aiken personally before watching the one that all three of us are thinking.
Well, I know where Angela's mind went to, but for me, and I've said it before, School Days. I watched it once. I have not gone back to watch it again. I've never had interest in going back to watch it again.
Now that you mention it, I watched it, but I haven't gone back to watch it over again either. And it's not one I've actually tried to show anybody. I
And
forgot about it.
see, for me, I don't go back and rewatch stuff anyways. I mean, I watch a lot. I mean, I've watched a lot of what in the heck did I just watch? I think that sums up almost every psychological thriller I've watched.
And Aho Girl. That falls in the weird category.
Aho Girl, it
We
wasn't as
caught
bad
her.
as I
We
watched
caught
it
her at
all.
the right time.
You did get me at the right time. It was not as bad as I was prepared for, and I did finish it.
I know,
And
I know,
you are the only one that did not finish that challenge.
I know. I will have to sit down and force my way through it.
Here's the thing, it's not if you got past the first couple episodes, it's actually not bad, and you've actually watched other fantasy anime.
Yeah, I will. I will try to find time to sit down and watch it. And once I finally complete that, maybe we can do it again. And this time I'll recommend a show for Angela. She can recommend a show for Darren, and Darren can recommend a show for me. Which Angela's worried about that. I can see her face like, oh crap, what's he gonna try to get me to
Nope.
watch?
As long as it's not vending machine, I'll play along.
You
That's
just
fair.
do half the fun.
Nope. That is my one. That is like my one thing. That is my one stipulation, and at this point, it's on principle.
You're no fun.
That's why we wait till we're all together and we sit down to watch an anime and then just surprise her with like the first episode.
You just gave it away, Doug. Why in the world would you do that?
And see, I knew that was coming. That's the thing.
No, she would expect that from us. That's why I said it.
Exactly.
If I put it out there, then she's like, "Oh, they're not going to do that," because she's
No.
expecting it.
And then I'll just retaliate and make you both watch the last episode of Attack on Titan.
Okay. I don't have anything against Attack on Titan. I just never watched it.
Oh no, it jumped the shark very very badly at the end.
And then we'll just make her sit down and watch all of Conception.
I wouldn't even do that.
No, that's too cruel.
Yes.
That's too cruel.
Now Dance in the Vampire Bun, great idea. No, wait, not Dance in the Vampire Bun.
That was still a good show. Once you got past the first episode, which was kind of out there, Dance in the Vampire Bun was actually a really good series, in my opinion.
I was gonna say cruel. Whenever I hear the word cruel, it's Seraph to the end. Owari no Seraph. My bad. She was queen of the vampires.
I mean, if I really wanted to torture Angela, I would recommend something like Smartphone, because it's so full of tropes, and I know that drives her insane.
Yep.
Ross, really? First Love Monster? I haven't watched that one, but I'm fairly certain that's one I would watch. If it's the one if it's the one I'm thinking of.
But I already have a show in mind that for Angela, and it's one I think she would actually enjoy. So it's not like I'd be trying to torture her.
No, if anything, that's when that's when I'm finally gonna end up watching Free Rent.
Actually, Free Run is not the one that came to mind.
Rosario Vampire?
No, like I said, it's a show I think she would enjoy.
Oh.
I don't think she would enjoy Rosario Vampire.
But the fight only lasted 20 seconds.
I mean, the fact that we have interviewed the Bat is hysterical. In fact, I think I've interviewed... I've interviewed almost the entire main cast of Rosario Vampire. The ones that I have not interviewed, I have met in person. The ones that I have not interviewed are Mocha's inner and outer English voice actors, but I have met them both and gotten autographs from them.
I need to catch up on Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Because
I'm very far behind on that.
Apparently this season is getting really dark.
Ross says it's bad, Darren. It's bad in regards to First Love Monster.
I'm gonna have to look it up because I'm trying. Oh, Ross, really quickly, I don't know if you were familiar with Junior DxD since you were asking about it, but okay. A descendant of Musashi Miyamoto, Zeka Miyamoto, she has her life controlled by the sword. The root cause of this is the sword Tensei that she has had since she was a child. This sword has a will of its own and it steals power from the enemy's breasts. And the sword that loves breast grows Zeka's breast and turns them into strength. The tease continues with Zeka aims to be the strongest swordswoman in the world, together with Tensei, and acquires exceptional sword skills. She believes that if she gets stronger, she will also become popular, also have many friends. However, the reality is different. The stronger she gets, the lonelier she becomes. This is not the Sengoku period. Even if you are strong with the sword, you cannot have youth. I hate breasts. I want to be a normal girl and have friends. There's your synopsis of Junior DxD.
And actually reading the description of First Love Monster, Darren, this is 100% right up your alley.
Okay, I have to look into this.
Or
I know, I'm being serious. This actually sounds, it's from 2016, and it actually sounds like something you would legit watch. Uh, the tags are comedy, romance, school, and shoujo in that order.
Oh, I do remember this one.
And it's a Studio Dean show. When did this come out? 26. Yeah, the artwork kind of checks out for that time frame too. I'm looking at the art going,
Okay.
that looks like a mid 2010s anime just by the art style. And I looked down and it said 20 premiere 2016. I'm like, okay, yeah, that fits.
Okay, there's the reason being, let's see. There's a reason about this one. It's basically borderline pedophile because the girl dating the guy is apparently a fifth grader.
Oh, that's right. I did see this one. That's right. Okay, it is a show I was thinking of.
I don't I think the one I was thinking of was My Little Monster, which is I do remember this one though. I just don't remember the synopsis. I think I was thinking of My Little Monster.
Yeah, because the main male character in that is a fifth grader, but he looks like a high schooler.
Yeah.
And he has the mentality of a fifth grader. So, like, poop and wiener is hysterical to him, and it at one point drives her nuts. So I do remember watching that with my wife. I think that
Oh
was
Lord.
her. I think that was her suggestion when we were suggesting shows back and forth.
Yeah. This was the one I was thinking it was.
Well, all right.
Okay. Yeah, that one I don't know. The other one, when I saw the characters, I'm like, that looks familiar. Oh, yep, it is what I think it is. Okay.
Well, all right. It just,
It's just
Well,
not in Angela's wheelhouse for poop and wiener.
to be fair, Doug. Oh, I managed to scar one of my employees the other day for life.
How
You
did you
know,
do that?
I made him watch the first few minutes of A Sister's All You Need.
Okay, I can understand that. Yes.
He was pissed
Maybe
at
that's
me.
what. Maybe that's one that we get Angela to watch.
Hey, that was a good show though.
It was a good show, but it's definitely not something Angela would watch on her own. 100%, definitely not something she would. But no, I do have a show in mind that I think Angela would like.
So I'm picking for you, right?
Now you would be picking for me, and this will all happen once I finish. What was it, Goblin Slayer?
Yes,
yep.
Goblin Slayer.
Do I just?
Both seasons or just the first one?
Considering when I suggest when we did that, season 2 hadn't released yet. I'll say just season 1. However, season 2 was really good.
Mm-hmm.
If I make it through both seasons, I'll say I will do my best to watch both seasons of it. Therefore, in return, the anime that I have in mind is a 24 episode anime. But
Oh, I didn't. I thought Shuffle was. Yeah. Oh no, was that 26?
Shuffle.
I don't know.
I think Shuffle was that 24 or 26. I don't remember.
Or it could have been 25.
Oh, is that what it is?
Shuffle was
No.
Shuffle was 24 episodes.
Oh,
That's
it was
not
24?
the one that came to my mind.
But do you think she'd like Shuffle?
I don't know. As good as a show as Shuffle is, and it did have a really good romance side to it, I don't know if she could get past some of the anime tropes. Like that's the biggest thing that I've noticed with Angela is certain tropes she just does not have an interest in.
Oh boy. What to pick for Darren?
And I'm curious as to what Darren would pick for me.
Yeah, since we share so much of the same tastes.
Because like if we went Shuffle for Angela, she would have to deal with the harem school urban fantasy anime, but that's not the road that I was thinking.
See, the harem would be the thing that annoys me.
Well, unlike most harem protagonists, he does actively in the show try to devote his time to each of them. He tries to split the attention evenly because he's more or less in the dating stages. He's not in the relationship stages.
So
And unlike most harem protagonists, he actually does make a choice.
He does, even though the other girls don't care.
what to pick for Darren?
If you pick something like Serial Experiments Lane, I am down for that. Just saying.
I was contemplating with a weird one. That wasn't the one that came to mind. I was torn between a weird one or just making you guys watch Delicious in Dungeon because it's that awesome.
I'm planning on watching that anyway due to new shows that have dropped on Netflix. The wife wanted to get Netflix back so she could watch stuff, and I'm like, well, maybe I will sit down and finally watch that since Angela, you're not the only person that has told me I need to watch this show.
I have to say, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But, I mean, if you want to pick something a little more shocking, that's fine too, because, like I said, I'm hit me.
Ross, I hope you feel better soon.
Yes,
Ross,
please feel better. Hay fever and allergies just plain suck.
and with the weather that we have had recently come across, I want to say the northern central areas of the U.S. have been absolutely insane. I don't know if it's been as crazy for you down in Arkansas. I know last week, like in the past 7 days, we've had temperatures in the mid 60s, and we've also had snow.
You got snow. I'm jealous.
We didn't get it as bad as Cleveland did, although the Pocono Mountains, I heard some of them got like
So we just got
12 plus inches.
We got Blue Hills on fire, followed by rain.
We got nothing.
Like New England.
I have Eind.
Hello, cat. No, we literally we had enough of a drought where we literally had a fire. And then rain. But, it's New England. What do you want?
He looks so tired, and he looks like he's not as anxious as Haru.
He looks like he is done with the attention.
He enjoys the attention, but he's anxiety man. I think he was also mad because he was sleeping on the couch when I picked him up. I was like, here, let me give you some loves.
Ross, I 100% agree with you. My sinuses hate when New England weather shifts like that.
I hate when southern weather shifts like that because you go hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. You're using the heat in the morning and then you're switching to the AC in the afternoon.
My poor sinuses do not appreciate it because I'll have to have the heavy coat in the morning, but by the time I leave work, it's so warm I don't need the heavy coat.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, before much longer, we'll be seeing your Ruby blanket back on you.
It's just like it's right here.
You just have it out of camera type.
Yep, I just have only because I'm wearing warm clothes and it's just my feet that are cold.
I did have a trip from hell earlier this week because of weather. For the first time, I was on a train that was, I don't know if it was a combination of engineer didn't want to go out into the pouring rain to put the other engines online, or if the engines were online but didn't have the power to pull the train up a hill. But we stalled out going up 2 different hills. The first time I had to walk 7,000 feet of train to hop on the hind end and ride the boxcar back 5 miles so we could get a running start up the hill. And that was in a torrential downpour. I only had a rain jacket. I didn't have rain pants, so the jeans and boots and everything were absolutely soaked. And then we stalled out going up a second hill and ran out of time. So that was an interesting experience.
You sound like me when I'm mowing a large property and then the rain comes out of nowhere and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm almost done. I'm finishing. And then I gotta go into the truck and I gotta sit and dry off.
Yup.
I'm not even paying attention.
The comment of the night. Wait, when did you guys change your names?
Doug changed all of them a while ago, Ross.
When John Knight was giving us all titles, starting with Angela as Miss Shonen Anime, and then he said I was Mr. Isekai and Darren was Mr. Shoujo. At that point in time, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun and change the names on everybody and do that. And it took a minute, and then Angela saw it and started laughing because she knew where it came from, and Darren just doesn't care.
I have to say, I'm laying in bed here.
He's not dead yet.
Keyword yet.
Yeah, give me 15 minutes.
Whereas bed for me is up a flight of stairs. And John, apparently Ross needs a title as well.
Mr. Distraction.
Mr. Well, if it's going based off of anime genres for Ross, I would almost say Mr. Romance.
I was
He
thinking
likes the romance one.
Mr. Romance or Slice of Life?
I was thinking the exact same thing, Doug.
Same here.
As for John Knight, I would say Mr. Blu-ray. Because he loves his Blu-rays, which, that's awesome that he supports the industry like that. Not everybody does, and I know that like the Blu-ray industry is kind of a dying industry. DVDs and Blu-rays, you don't see them as often as you used to.
Yeah, from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray to digital copies
to streaming sites to everything else.
Yep. I will always own physical media. I don't care what anyone says. It is permanent. It cannot be changed. It is what it is.
My wife did some cleaning of the house. I look back, I'm like, Yuna's not where she normally is. I'm like, where did she put
and Ross Ross gave John the title of Mr. New Info News Dump, which is also an accurate title.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we want to take a moment to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving this week. I know Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the U.S., so we hope everybody who is able to enjoys time with friends and family. I know there's many people out there who aren't able to do that. I don't know if I'm going to be around. I won't, due to the fact I'm on the extra list this week. I don't know if I'm going to get called for a road train on or before. So I don't know if I'm going to be where I'm going to be for Thanksgiving Day. Fingers crossed that I can be home to spend it with my family and stuff, but only time will tell. That is the life of a railroader.
And John's title for Ross is Mr. Anime Joke.
So I love seeing the interaction in the chat. If you're new to Anime-Zing Radio, we do have a live interactive chat on Sunday nights here on YouTube where you can interact with us during the show. We monitor it. If you have questions, we ask the questions of our guests or answer them ourselves if it's directed towards us. We really thrive off of the interaction with you guys. We truly love the fans who tune in every week, whether it be for the full 2 hours or just a few minutes. We really do appreciate everybody who comes in and helps to support the show.
100% agreed.
Looking back at other shows that we have been watching, Darren, have you caught up on Demon Lord Retry?
I think I did. I want to say I did the other night. Yep.
There's 9 episodes out.
Yep. He just destroyed. She had just been reunited with Eagle.
Oh, the new one dropped. I think yesterday.
Okay, so no. I'm either one. I think I'm this one behind because Eagle was the last one I remember, and then
Okay.
of course.
Because this most recent one, he is working with the daughter of like one of the demon lords or something like that, and going after. I think they were going after the slave traders.
Okay.
So
I just kind of found it funny that he left our two adventurers just kind of out of nowhere. And every time he opened his mouth, he just handed her something. He just handed him something.
So we're saying the theme of this season is Demon Lord anime.
Demon Lord, villainous.
To answer Ross's question, I actually enjoy sci-fi. But I will say that depends. I will say I've also seen some really bad sci-fi.
I can give you a sci-fi. That's the number 3 anime on MAL and has been for a while. Well, it was number 2 for the longest.
What is it?
Steins Gate.
That's been on my watch list. That one I haven't had time.
I would say watch Chaos Head first because it's the first in the Science Adventure series, but there's very few references to it in the Steins Gate series. And then, like I said, Robotic Notes I never watched. And then there's Chaos Child. And then there's Steins Gate Zero. And then supposedly they are completely redoing Steins Gate for 2025. They're taking one of the best anime ever done and redoing it.
And see, this is exactly
What we talked about earlier in the show.
And one of the things I can't stand is when I find something that interests me, but I find out that I can't watch the thing I want to watch because I have to watch 4 other things that all relate, and then it's like, but why?
Well, then, like I said, the good part is you don't have to watch them. It's just that there's small, very small tidbits of information that's dropped throughout the series that date back to it, but they all take place in the same world, just not necessarily in the same time.
I'm more referring to some of the comic book nonsense, and the
Marvel,
no, actually, it was DC, but
DC,
same difference.
yeah, superhero stuff.
Well, but the fact that Anime-Zing is doing it too, it's like, really? Come on now.
But in regards to the comment of Demon Lords or Demon Kings, things of that nature, you had Demon Lord 2099, Demon Lord Retry,
Demon Lord,
banished from the heroes party, or the healer who was banished. I think they're dealing with demons in that. Goodbye Dragon Life is dealing with demons.
I will say Demon Lord 2099 is actually a lot of fun. That's one of the ones, predictably so, I'm actually really enjoying.
Love Live Superstar, it has still been really good. I still maintain my opinion that it is, and I haven't gone back and rewatched the original Love Live in a long time. So I don't know if I feel that this has surpassed the original Love Live yet, but it is definitely my second favorite of the 4 Love Live variations. And I kind of like some of the characters in Superstar better than I like most of the characters in any of the other 3 series. And I know Love Live was a huge franchise, and it still has a lot of people who love the shows and everything. I just really like the storyline and how they've kind of, like, Love Live, the original, and Love Live Sunshine felt very much a carbon copy of each other. Love Live Nagasaki High School, aside from being difficult to say the title, was not very good in my opinion. I could not get past like 3 or 4 episodes. I tried multiple times. I'm like, yeah, it had the K-On effect where I tried multiple times because I enjoy the music animes, but it just did not like pique my interest at all.
Doug, Ruby's best girl according to Ross.
Ruby was a cute character. I believe she was Love Live Sunshine. I still really like the main character in Superstar. I cannot think of her name off the top of my head right now, but the orange-haired girl, I really like her character. I think she is one of my favorites in the whole franchise.
For Love Live?
For Love Live.
Not Honoka.
Chika. Or not Chika, Kanan. Kanan is the one that I like. I think she's my favorite of all the characters.
Oh, Kanon? Kanon
Kanon
Shibuya?
Shibuya. Yeah, I like her. I like her personality. I think she is a fun character. Um, I think she was one of the characters that really drew me into that show when I first started watching it.
And now we've got Ross instigating. Because now he says, I know Darren wants to date Nozomi.
I was gonna say honkers, as she's often referred to as. Uh, I'm not a Love Live person, but I mean she's cute. Don't get me wrong.
Well, at least he didn't go to the really instigating route.
Nico?
Yeah,
I was waiting for
No.
it.
I was trying to be nice and not say it for once.
I'll say this: Yoshiko doesn't look too bad either.
I mean, there was a lot of cute characters in the Love Live franchise, but I think out of what I have seen, and Ross says no because you like perverted anime girls, Darren.
What? Nozomi's not exactly innocent? Is that what you're trying to say? Doug, can you confirm to this?
I no Nozomi. I'm trying to
The one with
remember.
the biggest chest out of all of them.
Is that like the original Love Live?
I believe so.
I have to go back and look. Um. Oh, Nozomi. Oh, okay, Nozomi. I think she wasn't she like the class president or something like that.
She seems to be the type.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, Doug, speaking of president, I just figured a show that you need to recommend to Angela.
Okay.
Shimoneta.
That would be cruel.
Cruel.
That would be hysterical. But knowing Angela's interests, I don't know
But she
how
said
much she
she
would
likes.
enjoy that.
I know she's picky about comedy, but that's comedy.
I mean, if we're gonna go comedy down that road, it could also be like Keijo.
No. What I've seen of Keijo, I absolutely hated.
Cajun was fun. That's all I gotta say.
Or I could
It,
or I could go bento.
Oh,
Keijo, I will give Keijo basically within so many within so many minutes of clips, it really quickly became a not for me.
I think, and I keep going back and forth with you on this one because I keep forgetting you watched it. But I think she would enjoy Seto Kayako Windamo. The one
She
with
might enjoy that.
the one with the student council president and the vice president and the treasurer and the secretary that's always down here.
I mean, it could also could have gone the route of Hagani.
Hogany was fun though.
It was fun, and Hagani is one of those shows that has some really great comedic lines that differ from the English to Japanese, especially in season 2.
I think Rika
Oh,
was
Rika
one
was
of the
great.
best examples
All
on
right.
the roller
Yeah.
coaster.
Oh, that's exactly what I was thinking. Rika with the roller coaster. In Japanese, it translated one way. In English, she said something completely different.
John, that is a darn good question. The answer is I'm not sure.
John Knight asked Angela, "What's your favorite moment from Chainsaw Man?"
On
Um,
this.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to remember my favorite moment of Chainsaw Man, even though you didn't ask me.
I never saw it, so I don't have one.
I don't know. Actually, probably Makima just when she showed up out of nowhere, went berserk, murdered everything, and then just kind of went back as if nothing happened.
Oh, yes, that sounds about right. Speaking of which, I don't remember if I ever said this or not, but can you take a guess as to who my favorite female from Chainsaw Man is? And
I'm gonna say it's. I want to say the name is Angel.
wow, that's cruel. That's a guy.
No,
Yes, Angel, and that is a guy.
then I'm thinking that I'm getting my characters mixed up. Looking it up because I have one in mind and I do not remember the name for the life of me. Because it's been a while.
It's been a while since I first saw you.
Power is the one I was thinking of.
Nope.
Then I don't know.
Himeno.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that also makes sense.
Kobani, no. Power, no thank you. Makima, eh. Himeno had the personality that I would be I like the best.
Whereas Makimo was kind of my favorite character.
I mean, I get why. And also I was right. Angel is a male.
Yes, and I realized as soon as I looked it up that yes, I had them back. I had the wrong character in my brain.
And in the chat, in reference to Keijo, Ross says that Nan, the Southern Redhead, was his favorite in Keijo. Talking about Hagani, Senna saying the video game line is a great scene or is a good scene in
That,
Hagani. I think that was hysterical too.
that too. I liked Kate as well.
Oh, Sister Kate.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
then
like the fact that they introduced her by way of farting. That like my inner 5-year-old cracked up over that because I wasn't expecting it.
Ross says he bought the manga bundle for a Sign of Affection. Yay! That was that one was so good. That's another one that I will recommend to most people.
And John Knight says he has a favorite moment from Chainsaw Man, but he doesn't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. So, of all the shows that you guys are watching this season, which one do you feel has had like the best moment? May
Hard
not.
question. Ari Puerta, followed by You Are Miss Servant.
I'm gonna actually go with Demon Lord 2099 for best moment.
I think for me, it's kind of a toss-up between Tying the Knot with an Amagi Sister and You Are Miss Servant. Because there's scenes in both of those that were like really, really good. And breaking news, Darren just put in the group chat from Anime News Network. Let me click on the link here.
Netflix
Netflix?
subpoenas Discord in investigation of post-production partner leaks.
Episodes of Ranma 1/2, Dandadan, and Mononoke film leaked on sites such as 4chan.
Netflix, this is the Northern District of California court issued a subpoena on Thursday. Netflix filed the request on November 15th. And then, according to a report on The Verge in October, South Korean publisher Nexon had subpoenaed Discord on October 11th, alleging that Discord had refused to comply with several DMCA notices. Well, that's something. Didn't have
Yeah.
that on my bingo card for this year.
I did not have that either.
To be fair, DMCA extends its authority beyond what it should, in my opinion, because I am a victim of DMCA.
I will actually agree with that. But it's a Korean publisher subpoenaing Discord regarding DMCA. That makes sense. If it was the States, I would just kind of laugh.
And apparently it wasn't just anime that was leaked. From what I'm seeing here, according to IGN, other Netflix shows and films, including the second season of animated action series Arcane, Heartstopper Season 3, Gentry Chow versus the Underworld, Plankton the Movie, and Spellbound were also leaked.
And also some stuff regarding Squid Game Season 2.
So that's interesting stuff right there. And if I remember correctly earlier, Darren, you were talking about we were at, what was it, the 1 year anniversary, or about the 1 year anniversary of Freerun taking the top spot on my anime list.
Yep, took it away from good old Brotherhood.
Brotherhood was a fantastic show.
Do you think it deserves the rating it has, though, is the question.
Yes.
Freerun, it doesn't surprise me that it's held it this long. Will it continue to keep the top spot? I don't know how much longevity it has, but it is a really good series.
I'm going to, and to a certain extent, playing devil's advocate once again, I don't think anything that's out now or recently or coming out these days has the staying power or the longevity, as you put it. I just don't see anything having the longevity of the classics from the era of Brotherhood.
Which is true. That's why I said I'd be curious to see if it continues to keep the momentum that it's been having. Having watched the anime and really enjoyed the anime, and then also reading the manga and getting a little bit more in like there's some tidbits in the manga that's a little bit more in depth than what you saw in the anime, and of course the anime added some stuff in to make it flow better than what you saw in the manga. They both have their places. So the manga you can get a lot more information in, where an anime might be restricted due to length of episodes. We want to try to fit one or two, 2-3 chapters into a 23-minute episode, so we have to leave some stuff out to make it fit better or something of that nature. So and I'm no expert on the manga side of things. I've always been more more focused anime stuff. It's only been recently that I've really had the itch to start getting into the manga and light novel stuff.
Same actually. Ross in the chat says 1 more month till season 2 for My Happy Marriage comes out. Ross, I'm right there with you. Looking forward to that.
Ross also goes, "Oh, you said DMCA. I heard YMCA." I could picture Ross in his house doing the dance. On that note, we are almost out of time. We want to thank everybody, including our sponsors, Home Circle Media and Triple S Lawn Care, for their support of the show. Thank you to all of you, our awesome listeners who have tuned in. There's a good chance that we could have a cosplaying guest. I just need to wait for confirmation from them. They said that they should be able to join us on the 1st. The only thing is they have been busy getting ready for conventions and stuff of that nature that was going on this weekend. To all of our friends who went to Saratoga Comic-Con, I hope you had a great time. I hope it was a lot of fun. Again, congratulations to Sam Chase for 10 years of Saratoga Comic-Con. 10 years of doing anything is, very congratulatory worthy. It's not an easy thing.
No, it is not.
John Knight, before we go, has a question. He wants to know what everyone's going to do this Thanksgiving. Ross's answer was just family dinner.
Actually, same. Husband and I are going to go to spend the day with his extended family, eat food, maybe watch football, and then go home and go to bed.
And for Darren?
Same. Mom's family.
For me, as I mentioned earlier, it's all going to be dependent on if I get called for a train or not. If I'm not working, it will be spending time at my mom and sister's house and enjoying family time and having fun and things of that nature. If I'm working, then I'll be either on a train or stuck in a hotel and figure out what to do for Thanksgiving dinner from that point.
Because you'll be working on the railroad.
I will. I will be having my own version of Rail Wars. But on that note,
will you have the same plot as Rail Wars?
I will not be having the same plot as Rail Wars, that's for sure. Even though there are multiple women who are conductors out of the terminal I work out of, I cannot say that I look at them as the same way as a lot of people look at the plot of Rail Wars.
Well, all right. Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
And to all a good night.
Have a wonderful night, everybody. Be safe out there. Until next time, keep enjoying anime. And this has been Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.